So we'll call to order the regular meeting of the board, February 10th, 2022. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Adoption of agenda. It's recommended that the agenda of the February 10th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved with one change. The change is one of the number 4 on the approval of minutes goes in a different spot, so that's what the change is. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Approval of minutes. It is recommended that the minutes of the January 13th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the minutes of the January 19th, 2022 public work session of the Board of Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? It's recommended that the minutes of the January 24th, 2022 special public meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Statement questions from the public. I'll remind you, each person gets 2 minutes to speak. And you cannot use names. Keep that in mind when you're speaking. First one is Amber Hudson.
Hi, I'm here about one of the 2 things I usually am here about every month. I haven't talked for a little while, but with the numbers going down, I would like to officially just ask if there can be any new sets through the school to get rid of the mask mandates completely. Basically just get rid of the COVID restrictions that are going, the quarantines, and just treat it like you would, which we always did when I was here. When the kids are sick, they go home and they stay home and they don't come back till they're better. So that's just my request. I know you guys have hoops that you have to go through. There's people above you that you have to answer to that. I know that was a funding issue. If we don't comply, then there's an issue with that, and I get that. And I'm still sending emails, but if they're also requesting from any of you that if there are others that I could email for the district myself and get other people to also jump on board to help them send down the things that we want to see for you guys to be able to pass. Because I know sometimes it's not something you guys can do anything about, it's coming from them. So again, if there's other names you guys could get with to me, I would start sending those emails also. And also, I did want to make note, I did see that there was a pass on, because of all the school board stuff going around, that there was an Indiana new thing that went out, that the minutes had been changed from 2 minutes to 3 minutes per the state level. I don't know if that's something you guys, they had informed you guys of or not, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not in effect yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is coming.
It is coming, okay, all right, thank you.
Yes. And then your time to start. Audrey Smith.
So I just want to preference and begin. I'm here to have a solution and be part of the solution. I just want to start. So my daughter has had a rough year this year going to the junior high. It all started this summer where she went to her dad's family in Peoria. She was vaping through peer pressure. She is an athlete. It was FaceTime. And it was screen recorded. It was brought to the school's attention. As an athlete, my daughter got 10% of her games taken away from her, which to me it wasn't a problem. She's an athlete. That was the perfect conversation that I could bring to my daughter. Sorry, I'm gonna cry because it gets worse. So I brought that up. We had that. a month later or so, she got dress code violated. Okay, these are the same jeans she's been wearing. There was an analogy that brought to me, was like, oh, if you drive to work every day and you speed and you don't get caught, but the one time you do, you get caught, are you gonna tell the officer, oh, I speed every day? These are people that have eyes on my daughter. I don't have my daughter dressing bad. She doesn't wear crop tops. She has holes in her jeans like every other student does. Okay? She accepted that. She was still, and it wasn't caught by a teacher, it was brought on by basketball boys. Oh, dress code Kalina, dress code Kalina. This is what goes on every day. Okay? So then, 2 days later, I get a call from my daughter bawling. She gets told to go pick cotton by the same basketball boys. Yes, my daughter is biracial, right? Okay, we all know that. Those boys don't get in trouble. They're athletes. My daughter is held to a higher standard because she's an athlete. Again, I am here to be part of the solution, to have an open conversation that things need to be changed. Dress code violation, great, I pay $400 for a cheerleading skirt that is dress code violation. I pay for volleyball shorts that are dress code violations, but it's okay because it's a sport. I'm okay because, okay, that's what they wear, you know? But then for my daughter to get told to go pick cotton, and I know my daughter is not the only biracial or minority in the school that has had issues. Again, I want to be part of the solution. I don't think that my daughter should have gotten in trouble as an athlete, because our athletes are supposed to be held to a higher standard, right? That's what Fountain Central prides ourselves on, correct? Being told to go pick cotton, and the next day, my daughter had to put on that skirt that the boys were saying was a dress code violation because her pants. She had to go cheer those boys on at the basketball game. Do you know how that makes her feel? I don't think anybody does. I'm here because I don't want my daughter to be a mental health statistic or a suicide statistic because nobody's paying attention or protecting her. I'm here for her voice. And again, please reach out to me because I want to be part of the solution, because it's not just my daughter that this is happening to.
Thank you.
Jason Blankenship.
Somebody look into that one.
They should.
I'm here, as I think everybody else is, about the fifth grade going to sixth grade going to
Sixth grade going junior high.
junior high. Having a sixth grader going into seventh grade, the maturity level, it's not there. I don't feel it's there, and I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason there's a whole bunch of people here. I don't know how anyone else feels about it, but I'm pretty sure it's already been said and done. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But I think someone needs to take another look at this and decide, hey, because I get told stories of people vaping in the hallways, kids making out in the hallways. You know, the story's not even from my own son, from other kids, of things going on. I don't believe that those sixth graders are mature enough to go to that situation. If anybody else has anything else to say, then please speak up, but I think we're going down the wrong path on this situation. Now, I understand there's probably grants and money and everything else the school needs, but there's a big difference between money and mental health and everything else of the children, I believe.
Thank you. Jill Dip.
I'll keep it under 2 minutes, I'll do my best. I'm here as a parent. I have one in 5th grade and multiple other kids, but the one is Riley that will be possibly going over to the junior high, the 6th grade student. So I just have some quick questions about the presentation that was given to us the other night and the numbers that I found on the school's website and the DOE website. So feel free to correct me if I got something wrong, I don't mind. We were told the other night that there would be electives available to the 6th grade students. I just want to know what those options are. If it's just not going to be a bunch of downtime. If they would have the opportunity, I think world language is listed, but I think we only offer Spanish over there, so I didn't know if there were other options we just didn't know about. Another positive on the PowerPoint slide were interventions. Okay, how will that look over at the junior high level? Because I know at the elementary right now we have math and reading interventions for these students. What will we have over there? Will it be better? Will it be less? Will it be the same? I just feel like that's important. A parent asked what difference is it gonna make by moving 3 teachers from the elementary over to the high school? And we were told that actually the class sizes would be smaller if they crossed the parking lot versus them staying in the 6th grade, which I know our numbers are high at the elementary. Based on the DOE website numbers, well, let me back up really fast. On the school's website, on the high school and the elementary website, it states facts and numbers, that we have a 14-to-1 teacher to student ratio. I don't see it at all. On the DOE website, we have 87 students in the 2nd grade. And granted, the DOE website does state that that's 2021 school year, so I know it's a little bit out of date, but I don't think that the numbers have changed drastically. So it's 87 students in the 2nd grade, and I think we have 4 teachers in the 2nd grade. For the math on you, that's roughly 21 students in a grade, or in a classroom, with 1 teacher. Is that 1 minute?
That's 2.
Rats. Anyway, so I'm just kind of caught up with that on, I agree, class sizes across all grade levels are great. But over here in the elementary, it's even more important than them crossing the parking lot and having smaller class sizes. I mean, when we have 21 kids in the 2nd grade that are still learning how to read, that's a lot of students. And it bothers me that that's listed on our school website as a fact. That's not a fact. I love our aides, don't get me wrong. I treat them as equal and they are a right-hand man, but they are not certified teachers. So I just feel like that's something we should look at, and if these guys cross the parking lot, that leaves a whole grade level open. Are we gonna hire certified staff to help make those class sizes smaller over here? Just something to look at. Sorry, I'm over my 2 minutes.
That's all. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I had on the list. Did anybody not sign the list that wanted to speak? Administrative recommendations. It's recommended that the claims numbered 3696 through 3779 be approved as presented. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Personnel. It is recommended that Janelle Ashwell be employed to fill the 4th grade teaching position for the maternity leave of Abby Hoagland.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the leave request made by Des Fritz be approved as presented. This leave is for 12 weeks and will be time for her to complete her student teaching.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? It's recommended that Karen Webster be employed as a temporary instructional aide in the special education department at the elementary school.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the leave request made by Mary Frazee be approved as presented. This leave is for 12 weeks and will be time for her to complete her student teaching. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that Kayla Grubbs be employed as a temporary instructional aide in the special education department at the elementary school.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? It's recommended that Herb King be employed as a teacher and head football coach at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for the 2022-2023 school year.
If I may, Coach Good, Jason Good, our athletic director, did prepare a statement, and I know in the past we've had new hires. Dr. Grimes has asked us to say a little bit about those hires. We are recommending Herb King for our head football coaching position. Coach King will be a 2022 inductee to the Indiana Football Coaches Hall of Fame. He has over 180 wins on his resume and has coached 4 sectional champions, 2 regional champions, and a state runner-up team. Coach King is regarded as an excellent teacher and coach and will bring his leadership and success with him to the Fountain Central community.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the resignation of Ashley Hammond as the principal of Fountain Central Junior Senior High School be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the resignation of Michael Alio as a science teacher at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School be approved as presented. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the resignation of Marie McCarty as the art teacher at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the maternity leave request made by Emily Peterson be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Outstanding checklist.
We have a number of checks that have been out for more than 2 years and have not been cashed. And so we're asking permission for those checks to be voided. But they would be reissued if the person who had received them finds them and requests within 7 years as per Indiana state law.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Quotes. A motion was made that J&K Communications Incorporated quote in the amount of $21,732.24 be approved as presented. This will be used to improve radio access for emergency personnel when on our campus.
Okay, shortly after I came here, this was brought to my attention, and we've been seeking ways to do this. As it stands now, when any emergency personnel, be it an ambulance driver, a fireman, a policeman, once they get inside our building, their signals for their radios are blocked, and so then they can't reach other people, and it's a very big safety issue. So we started looking for the cost to fix what needed to be fixed. And it was going to be more than $80,000, roughly $82,000 was the price that we were quoted last year. I did write that into the ESSER funding as an option, but I wanted to seek other options because I'd rather use our ESSER funding for other things. So some of the things I did, I went to the Petersburg Town Council and asked about TIF money. I contacted Joe Scanlon from Homeland Security to see if there was any funding for that that would help with it. We have a school safety and security plan, tried to get money for that. And, hit roadblocks at every turn, but Joe Scanlon did tell me that if I didn't find it anywhere else, he couldn't help me, but he could help me by telling me somewhere else that we might get a better quote. So thankfully, when all the other doors had closed, Paul Davis, our SRO then, reached back out to Joe and got the name and got in touch with this J&K Communications, and the quote is just under $22,000 now, so about $60,000 less. And Paul, who is our SRO/bus driver/IT guy, jack of all trades. He is able to install the equipment during his IT time, and what it will do, this will enable when emergency personnel are on our campus, they will be able to link in with our equipment that we have in-house so that it improves the safety and upgrade. So that funding, I need board approval to spend it, but it has been allocated in the ESSER 2 grant.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? A motion was made that the quote from Lancaster Shirt Equipment in the amount of $42,367.20 be approved as presented. This will be used to purchase new equipment for the kitchen services at the elementary school.
Last month, you did approve a quote for an amount for this very same equipment, and you approved the amount of just over $76,000. However, we had not ordered it yet, and Aramark Services that does our food services did receive more quotes, and we looked at it again and can get the exact same equipment that we were ordering from a company that is closer in Danville, Indiana, and for a little over $30,000 less. So this request is that we be able to buy it from this company instead of where we had originally thought about doing it, so that extra $30,000 can be used to buy other things that we need in our kitchen.
Motion.
Second.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Josh? All in favor? Other business. So this was the one change that we had. So it is recommended that the custodial facilitator position vacation be granted 2 weeks for the first 5 years and 3 weeks beginning with year 6.
Earlier this year, we had a change in our custodial services because one of the things that was noticed was that there was a lot of duplicate purchases rather than a combined from the whole district and things like that. And as we were looking at how to do things more efficiently, the position of facilitator was created to oversee the custodial services in both buildings and start ordering things for the district rather than building by building, things like that. In the process, the one lead custodian was leaving and another one is now the facilitator, did not see a significant income for added responsibilities, but I would like for us to look at that position because it's a leadership role, to look at our other employees who have quasi-leadership roles and be more in line with that when it comes to the vacation time.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Elementary report.
All right, so it's going to look a little different tonight. I do have some handouts for the board, and then Dr. Grimes is going to put some data up on the board, or up on the screen there. So I think last time we spoke, Kelly talked about, we were just finishing up our diagnostic, our mid-year, and so we kind of dove into that data a little bit. So I'm going to show you. It's going to be a little hard to see numbers up there, so you guys can do your best to see it, but Dr. Grimes, if you wouldn't mind pushing the slideshow at the top there to make it a little bigger for people. Thank you. You can go ahead and go to the first one. So as I said, it's a little hard to see. That's why I gave you guys handouts. So if you look on here, we do first have our reading diagnostic, and what that is, at the left bar, the yellow one, that's our fall scores, and these are percentages on here, and these are the kids who performed on grade level when their fall scores came in. The blue on the right is the winter one that we just took. And so you can see on our reading scores, and once again, those are just percentages, but we have
grown, exponentially across grade levels in our reading scores. So we were really, really happy to see that. The next slide is going to be the same setup, just in math. You can see those numbers do go down a little bit, but I ask you to focus on the growth from fall to winter. I think that's the main thing here. While we have kids who are still not at that grade level mark yet, we do have kids that are growing in our building. And so I think after the last couple years, to be in what feels like a halfway normal year, we're finally seeing that growth, even though we started a little lower than we would have liked to. There's just a couple more. This one here, at the beginning of the year when the kids take their fall diagnostic, they're given a growth goal. It's a year-long growth goal. And so what we've done is this is the percentage of students who have already met that yearly growth goal. So for example, in first grade, 33% of our students have already met that growth goal for the year. Obviously, we still have a few months to go here, but you can see that those numbers are pretty high for those kids who have already met that goal. And then the next one, once again, is just math. Once again, it's no, you can look at the data yourselves and see that math is an area that we struggle in, and I think that's district-wide. And I'm not going to just make up excuses for us. It's something that we just have to do better in moving forward. So we're going to use this data. We're currently, as you know, in the textbook adoption for math. We're definitely using this to look at areas that we need to look at moving forward, different concentrations in that math academics. Okay. Other than that, that's all I have. We do have fourth grade field trip tomorrow, going to the State Museum, so that should be really fun for them, and the Valentine's Day parties as well. So, okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Josh. High school report.
One thing that I want to lead with, and several of you are aware that I've been around the block in terms of teaching in different districts, and one of the things that I've loved most about being in this community for the last 3.5 years is when someone is in need, people pick them up, and it's been amazing, and it's something that I haven't seen elsewhere. I wanted to talk about a group of people that are, and include staff members and people in the community and the student. We had a student over the storm period that contacted a member of our staff, and that they had frozen pipes in their trailer where they resided and had no one to help them get those unfrozen. I know Mrs. Hammond had contacted a group, and she recognized these people as stepping up. Ms. Hannah Pate, Coach Dave Bolin, Mr. Chris Webb, Flint and Alyssa Larson, and also Paul, Kathy, and Eli Davis. And I know Eli, our sophomore student over here, and Flint Larson actually made the trek to get to that student's house and had some equipment with them to help them get those pipes unfrozen. We just want to give those people a shout out for doing that. Spoke about this previously. We did have our guest speaker today, Mr. Brad Herdig, was a double amputee out of Ohio who lost both of his hands tragically as a sophomore in high school, went on to become an all-state football player. He visited us this morning and gave a motivational speech. And we had grade 7 through 12 in the gym today. First, it was a great break for the students to get an educational experience in a different setting. But as I watched our students, it was a captive audience, and there was a great message today, so we're excited about that. A couple of celebrations today. We have several students who just this week were recognized as academic all-state performers in their sports. Austin Pickett and Jared McCarthy were recognized academic all-state for football, and these are senior level awards. And then we had 3 girls basketball players, Jersey Hirschberger, Kendra Early Wine, Larissa Bowers, that were academic all-state. This week we're celebrating National School Counseling Week. A big part of our team is Mrs. Foxworthy and Mrs. Watson in our building. Just wanted to recognize them for their hard work and the many hats that they wear. A couple of other just announcements for the board. PSAT 8 and PSAT 9 are scheduled for come up here in less than 2 weeks. That's something that we began with those groups last year. Just gives students an opportunity to assess learning, gives us data to work from, and gives those students test taking experience. Our SAT school day for all juniors is March 2nd. Again, that's a state mandated test for all juniors in the state of Indiana this year, and our counseling department is working on that as well. That same day is our winter sports banquet, March 2nd. Fountain Central's academic awards are March 7th here in our building. And then on a lighter note, staff is celebrating this week our Super Bowl Sunday for several years now, our Super Bowl carry-in lunch, where we've got a great group of staff members that are making soup for staff to eat. And my idea was to turn it into a competition this year, so there'll be some voting and maybe some awards that are given out. It was my idea to make a competition and then to not participate, but I'm a happy judge.
Thank you, Mr. Shady. Student report. Mary Lee.
The boys basketball senior night will be February 24th versus North Putnam, and all the winter senior athletes will be honored that day. Girls swim was 3rd place in WRC. Mary Rice was an individual champion in 2 events. Boys swim won both the Bi-County and WRC championship this season. Eli Davis, Dylan Songer, and Ethan Milady were each WRC champions in 1 event. Riley Nelson and Noah Fruits were each WRC champions in 3 events. And Chase Witzman was a WRC champion in 4 events. Volleyball hosting a mother-son dance on February 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Southeast Mountain Elementary Gym. Waylon Frazee was a wrestling sectional champion in the 126-pound weight class. He finished 3rd at regionals and will represent FC at the Newcastle Semi-State this weekend. Waylon and his teammates Austin Pickett and Andrew Woodrow were all WRC champions back in January, with the team finishing in 2nd place. National FFA Week is February 22nd through February 25th.
Thank you, Mary Lee. Tonight's spotlight, Mr. Adam Miller in the agricultural program.
All right.
You want to click the slides or you want me to?
You click. All right, we'll start off with soils judging. We've already participated in soils this year. We placed 8th in the area and 34th in state, and I'll do a little bit of explaining and how soils judging works. So, first picture, this is Jalen. He's over there in a white shirt. He looks like he's testing the soil, testing for parent material, soil texture, and just looking for what that could be made out of, such as clay, gravel, anything that it could be. Next picture is Eli doing the same thing. Ray, confused, looking at something. Next picture over there, that was our state soils trip down in Jasper, Indiana. That was really fun. We do a good area, we get to move on. And then last picture is Casey. She's there. And, all right.
So I'll be talking about crops judging here pretty quickly. So in crops judging, basically you identify crops, damages to crops, and insects that will affect crops and other weeds and plants. And there's also a grain grading aspect. And you also identify weeds and plants, which is also very important in the field of what you're going to be doing in fields of agronomy and there are fields and just being a grain grader. And this year we placed 3rd and 6th at the area contest. And at the state contest, we placed 7th with our first team and 26th with our second team out of 50 teams across the state. So really, it was a really successful year as a whole for crop judging.
Thank you.
All right, me again. All right, parliamentary procedure. We've already done it this year. Once again, we work on just basically what's going on right here. Opening ceremonies, we open the meeting, we have like a main discussion. We'll talk on that main discussion, then we'll move on. Anybody wants to amend, change anything, or perhaps moving on to the next meeting. We'll go through that, and usually takes right around 15 minutes to go through everything. This year we placed 4th in our district competition, and it was just beneficial to everyone, and we all got to move on and be happy with our results after that. Thank you.
So I'm gonna speak again here. So livestock judging was a phenomenal year. We were 7th in the state out of over 60 teams that competed in the FFA division. And we participated at the National FFA Convention contest. And we placed silver as a team because their placings are bronze, silver, gold based on an cumulative score of all 4 people on the team. And as individuals, Eli, Waylon, and Willie were all silver individuals, and I was a gold individual. And we also went to 2 other contests earlier in the year to help us prepare for these 2 main contests. We were very successful at those as well. And the biggest thing I've taken away from livestock judging over basically my whole career, as long as I can remember, it's very important what I do for work. So I basically help own and operate our family's cattle operation. And you got to know what you're talking about when you're looking at them trying to sell stuff, right? So that's like the key thing I kind of take away from that. And it really teaches you how to talk to people and just be open to talking about what's there, how it is, not sugarcoating it too much, because reasons is an aspect of livestock judging, and it's helping me to, well, it's giving me a full-ride scholarship to college in Illinois next year. So it's been very beneficial in my life and in a lot of other people's lives in the area.
So, and for welding, was last December, so Carson Wolf placed 1st, and James Douglas got 8th place in the advanced state welding contest, and then their scores combined to get 1st in the state. And then afterwards, it was me, I got 5th in beginner state welding contest, which the beginner state welding contest consists of a butt, a lap, and a vertical up joint with a stick welder. And the advanced is a butt and a lap with a stick welder, and then a vertical up and down with a pipe with a MIG welder.
SAEs, or Supervised Agricultural Experience. These are projects done over the summer. Mine is an entrepreneurship project where I have a rabbit production business, and I breed rabbits and either keep their offspring for myself to put into my operation or sell them to local 4-H members. As stated, this is a supervised experience where Mr. Miller will advise, like myself, advise me how to run my business and which rabbits I should keep or sell. As well as there's 4 total types of SAEs that one could do. Mine that I do is entrepreneurship, there's research, and exploratory. And Ms. Casey Kirkpatrick does a placement SAE, and Mr. Miller, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so Casey takes care of the school garden, which is those pictures there. That's the fountain. The school garden, if you don't know, is in between like the ag wing and the art room. We've taken that over and I've spruced it up. So there's flowers there in the fountain. We plant tomatoes, zucchini, squash, and other produce. This year, the plan is we're going to plant vegetable plants in the greenhouse, start them there, and then put stuff in the garden, as well as have a vegetable plant sale this spring as well too.
Great.
So I'll be talking about one of our service projects that we do as our FFA chapter. This one was called Feed the Farmers, and it is exactly what it sounds like. We fed the farmers of our county. We prepared chili meals for all of our local farmers that signed up. It included a cup of chili, a peanut butter sandwich, water, and a bunch of desserts. We made 110 meals to feed 15 farm/businesses that would tell us that they had people that were hungry. And then we had about 14 FFA members that helped us prepare the meals. So it's a very inclusive project that we could all do.
National Convention. This is where everybody in the whole nation comes together to have fun. There's over 65,000 total members across the nation. This is held in Indianapolis, and at National Convention, as Ray said, we competed in livestock, and as well there is fun events you can attend, such as a concert and the rodeo.
All right, and then kind of, so where we're at now, right now we're working on a leadership contest, so we're working on the creed. Luke did the creed once. The creed, demonstrations, different leadership aspects, speaking events to help with public speaking, kind of like what we're doing here this evening. Dairy judging is another contest we're doing, which is just like livestock judging, except it's just one species focused on dairy cows rather than cattle, sheep, and hogs and goats, like livestock judging is, so it's just one species. And then, so right now, what are we on? So we got livestock, dairy, leadership, proficiencies, ag, room's busy all the time. So we have a lot going on, and thank you for all your support.
Great job.
Thank you. You kids done a very good job
Yeah,
speaking.
that's great.
That's impressive to see that.
One thing that I wanted to mention, and obviously with the slides and everything that the students talked about today, there's a lot going on. But Mr. Miller is just a really friendly staff member, and he often stops by my office to ask me how things are going and whatnot. And I want to return the pleasantries, and I always say, so what do we got going on with FFA right now? And then I'm like, why did I do that? It takes them forever to go over everything that's on like their agenda and what's going on. But you know, in all seriousness, he's got us hooked into a great group of kids, and they love it, and they do a lot of good things, and they're uber involved, and it's really part of what makes our building great over there. So I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you all for coming and doing that.
Great job.
Next up is statements from the superintendent.
Well, as many of you probably know, we do have a policy that if we hit 3% positivity rate in either of the buildings, then that building has to go to a mask mandate for 2 weeks, and then we review where we're at that positivity rate. Unfortunately, the elementary school did hit 3% a couple weeks ago, and we had to go to that. I guess the winter storm was timed really well, because that at least took a few days off of mask mandate for some. But the mask mandate ended yesterday, because when we were at the end of 2 weeks and reevaluated, we are down to less than 1% positivity rate. So I'm happy to say that they are back to mask optional. And at this point, the junior senior high has still been optional. They've come very close, but they have not hit the 3% at any time. And now, as was stated earlier during hearing of the visitors, we are seeing numbers in our state and locally are going down, and hopefully that will continue, and we will get through the rest of the year without needing masks. Next, I want to share some staff acknowledgements. I received an email from a staff member who said, at a time when you kind of get a lot of complaints, I just want to drop a note about a few people that always approach me with a how can I help attitude. So I really, really wanted to share this tonight, because I love when colleagues give a shout out to each other and acknowledge each other. And this list could go on and on and on, but I'm sharing the email that I received. So the first one is Beth Chisholm. Beth is our custodial facilitator that I just talked about. He said, I know that Beth works extremely hard, and she does everything she possibly can to help out whenever I ask anything of her. I've seen her husband in on weekends, helping her get caught up on work. She's always asking questions so that she can make things work better. I appreciate her willingness to go above and beyond. Number 2, Angie Doherty. Angie is our transportation director. Said, I don't envy Angie's job. She has a lot on her plate. She's always willing to work with me when it comes to transportation. And when she needs me to sub on a bus route, she's always flexible to take over a longer route so that I can drive hers and get back to the school in a timely manner for evening activities. She's easy to work with and treats me better than I deserve.
Number 3, Brian York. Brian is our maintenance director. But I'm sure that it's obvious that I enjoy working with Brian. I'm routinely impressed with his knowledge of being able to fix almost anything. Often, I want to do things that require his help, and he's great with advice as well as helping of whatever it is that I want done. Once, he was at a road football game over at Attica, and their power went out. He was the one that got it up and running, as he was the only one there with the knowledge of their system and how to get it running so the football game could resume. After that, their AD always asked me if he was coming to events at Attica in case anything broke. Said our jobs are filled with pressure and we often receive complaints, but I just wanted to take a minute to sing the praises of those 3 people, along with Tammy Pyle, that I could not possibly do without. And this was sent to me by Jason Good, our athletic director, who I also want to acknowledge because he's very, very busy too and does a lot for the district, but he took time to just want to reach out and acknowledge some of his co-workers. So that's the kind of atmosphere we have in this district, and I love that. People appreciate one another. The third thing I would like under statements from the superintendent, I just want to read something regarding support of school board members. I would like to state publicly that I have full support of the school board, and in no way do I feel unsupported by them. Their role is to set policy, oversee the district budget and spending, and to hire the superintendent. My role is to see that all policies are followed, prepare the budget, and to be accountable to the board for whatever transpires in the district. The board is elected by the citizens in our district. As duly elected officials, they hear a great deal of information, both praises and concerns, from members of our community. It is their responsibility to share that information with me. Once I am made aware of concerns, either from board members or other stakeholders, I gather factual evidence. I then consult the school board policies, the collective bargaining agreement, the non-certified handbook, the administrative guidelines, or any other handbook related to the concern, and then the Indiana School Laws and Rules Anthology. Any recommendation that I make, specifically referring to students or personnel, are made following the policies and procedures set forth by this district and the state of Indiana. It is my responsibility to provide the school board with any credible evidence which I have gathered and an explanation as to how any concerns relate to our policies or Indiana law. The board then votes whether or not to approve recommendations that are brought before them. They will not always agree with my recommendations. If they did, many of you in here would be really angry with me right now because I wanted to have everyone wearing masks last fall so that I wouldn't have to quarantine anyone. Likewise, if they share a concern with me or any suggestion or recommendation of how it might be handled, I respectfully remind them of their role in the district. I have never felt fearful of any retribution during the few times that I've given gentle reminders. In fact, they have thanked me for making the tough decisions. A recent rumor in the community implied that the board was forcing me to make some recommendations or decisions. That is absolutely untrue. I do not now, nor will I ever love every recommendation or decision which must be made. However, I want to assure everyone in this room and in this community, I will not make recommendation for this board's approval based on hearsay, innuendo, or emotion. My recommendations are grounded in factual information. So thank you, Southeast Fountain Board of Trustees, for your continued support. I appreciate the trust you have placed in me as superintendent of this district.
Thank you, Dr. Grant. Discussion items is up next.
All right, discussion items. First of all, on the agenda, one of the things that I met with the building administrators, Ashley Hammond and Kelly Morgan, to start discussing what are the best ways that we can continue to service our students based on the needs that we know we have. Josh talked about the math that we really need to work on district-wide, lots of other things like that. And we talked about some of the best ways to accomplish some of those needs. Mrs. Hammond did prepare this PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to go through a few of the slides quickly. Let me make it bigger so you can see them. We all know that change is hard, and I want everyone to know that, first of all, no decision has been made. It's not even on the agenda for a vote. It's in the discussion tonight because I wanted to start even seeing if it's a consideration in the community. So with that, Ashley put this together, and we talked to the people that would be impacted first and foremost before it even comes before the board for a vote or consideration. The vision is to realign and create a middle school culture independent from that of the high school by moving the 6th grade students to Fountain Central in August. That would provide access to additional educational programming on a consistent basis. Some of that we're looking at, was mentioned earlier, such as language. We're also looking at a middle school specific Project Lead the Way course to provide some of that for students. We're looking at aligning teachers to spend most of their day drilling into a content that they can help students move forward in a little more effectively. It would entail moving 3 Southeast Fountain Elementary School teachers to the junior, senior high school, and that's if the 6th grade went. Then some teachers, maybe those 6th grade teachers or others, would be the ones going. The district enrollment has drastically declined. In fact, February was count day, and each year we've lost more students, and from the fall count day until now, we just dropped another one. Let me give you the exact number we dropped instead of just guessing. We went from a total count of 979 students in the fall down to 962 on February 1st. Our in-person students have dropped from 966 to 940. Our virtual academy students has increased from 13 to 22 with that, and that has to do with other reasons that some students have to go to the virtual academy. But still, we have had a significant drop, and we continue to do that. So we want to look at the best ways that we can provide a quality education and be fiscally responsible. We believe that moving students with transition skills in grades 6 through 8, more soft skills, that organization, study skills, time management, learning more about juggling multiple teachers and different expectations, allow 6th grade students a little more independence, provide access to additional educational programming on a consistent basis, provide consistent instructional practices in those grades, and there is some financial necessity. Right now is a good time to make this change, because if not, rather than increasing staffing to lower class sizes, I would have to be looking at decreasing staffing because of our budget. But at least this way, right now I don't have to decrease staff because we can reallocate our certified staff to best meet the needs of students. Some educational benefits for 6th grade. It allows them 3 years instead of 2 for flexible course offerings. We can have teachers who are expert in their content area as opposed to teaching 6 different subjects in one day. It gives students an additional year to prepare and their families for that transition to high school, an additional year to create culture, increase family engagement, and build a strong community within the building, additional time and resources for career exploration. That's another one of the flexible course offerings that we're hoping to bring there, is a little more. So students start learning that college may be an option for some parents, but for some students, but there are a lot of other options too. We have a great ag program. I'd love to have our students start learning more about that. We have several CTE options that offer our students a great path forward without having to necessarily go for a 4-year degree. We want to start immersing our students and help them understand that they have lots of options. We can have expanded offerings of math for students who are ready for accelerated math courses or for those who need more intervention. Some of the electives that I have mentioned and also are STEM, but we would also include computer applications, some more fine arts options, some consumer science, family and consumer science. All those things could be offered to 6th grade, which we don't have the ability to, nor the facilities to do at the elementary building. Again, that access to academic intervention services in both math and language arts. Students at that grade level are at an academic age where they need reinforcement and extension of skills through application. They would be provided the opportunity to use specialized facilities such as science labs and the FACS classroom. 6th grade students would receive greater stimulation and departmentalization of teaching because, again, it would be teachers. The science teacher would be a teacher who got to spend their day focused on building great science lessons rather than focused on building lessons in 6 different subjects for the day. A school environment with grades 6 through 8 would better group adolescent age students together, ages 11 to 13. It can add consistent instructional practices for those students in their core content areas, weekly collaboration time amongst core content teachers in grades 6, 7, and 8 to help hone in on which students need more enrichment because they're already meeting the standards and we want to propel them forward, or for those that need some more interventions. So again, more academic opportunities for all students in grades 6 through 12 in spite of our declining enrollment. There are also, it does, the bottom line is we have to be cognizant of the money. We don't want to raise taxes for anyone in the community. We don't want to do all that, but we also don't want to lose any programs and services and opportunities for our students. So looking at the numbers and how many teachers we would have now, what would happen with the elementary staffing if we keep 6th grade there, we would need to have to figure out where we're going to get another teacher at that rate. But without keeping the 6th grade there, at Fountain Central without 6th grade, again, we have teachers there who are able to teach our 7th through 12th grade and keep our numbers fairly low right now, but we also have other options to use those teachers based on their certification areas. If we add the 6th grade students over at Fountain Central, again, our average student has 7 class periods per day. the average students in each class period right now would be about 20 students if we move the 6th grade over there. And by moving the 3 full-time teachers from the elementary, plus the full-time teachers we already have there, we would be able to meet the needs of all of our students without trying to figure out how to hire yet one more teacher. I know that one of the concerns is the maturity level and mixing those junior high students with high school. Well, we would recreate making sure we have junior high hallways in the areas. And in those areas, even their lockers, we have roughly 240 to 245 lockers available in those 2 hallways. So we looked at all that to make sure that we could keep the students and their lockers and everything in one area primarily, so that would limit interaction with the high school students. But we've also looked at other things that we've talked about and considered are whether the bell system would be the same. You know, we're looking into that, if there would be a separate bell system for junior high and senior high. But also, as we started, this is just the discussion stage, but as we're starting these discussions, I did ask our elementary administrators to start getting some feedback should this happen. So I did ask them to go to, first of all, talking to the 6th grade staff and sharing with them and getting their questions and feedback. And their questions were, what classes will we teach if we go over? Where will our classrooms be located? But they gave the indication that they would like to be the ones to go. At no time did we say, we're gonna say it has to be those teachers that go over. Because if someone really wanted to stay in the elementary building and someone teaching, for example, 5th grade wanted to go over, we would look at all of that too. But right now, it appears that our 6th grade staff are interested in going over there. We also talked to 5th grade staff, and they wanted to know, will we still give the 5th grade students like their field trip and promotion that they would have gotten in 6th grade? Will we be able to do those special things for them? Absolutely. They wanted to know if their 6th grade teachers were okay with it, because again, as I said when I was reading the acknowledgement, we have a district that cares about each other and they're concerned about, you know, about their neighbors, and that makes us happy. How will it be decided who goes over? Again, the grade level that would be involved would have the first option, and if any of those teachers didn't want to go, then we would open it up to see if there are other teachers in the elementary whose certification would allow them to teach at the junior, senior high. If they are interested in, we would go through that process. The administrators met with 5th grade students because it would impact them. And again, their questions, what will happen with 6th grade hallway classrooms? They wanted to know, you know, what we're gonna do with that part of the building. Are the current 6th grade teachers moving over there? Who are the administrators in that building? I mean, come on, okay, get them. That matters. Will we get a chance to go see the junior high? Absolutely. We wouldn't just drop them off next August and say, here you go. Where will the classrooms be located? What classes will we get to take? And most importantly, will we still have a recess? So those are the things that we want to look at and take into consideration as well when we're moving students, if it should happen. Mrs. Morgan and Mr. Davenport also held a parent meeting with 5th grade families specifically, since it's the current fifth graders that we're talking about, and wanted to answer their questions. And they asked questions such as, how will you ensure that they have limited contact with high school students? What will the class sizes be if we're only sending over 3 staff members? Will students have more opportunities for athletics? Is there a chance there could be an alternate bell schedule for the junior high to help with that hallway congestion? They said, we're seeing some families commented that we're stealing a year off their childhood. My child is not mature enough to go. And another parent said, I grew up in a middle school setting and feel my child will love it. I'm in support. So that's feedback that we've gotten so far. I asked the administrators to get this, and as more feedback come in, including what was shared here tonight, it will be added to the feedback and provided to the board so that next month, when this is on here, they can make a decision on whether to support this or not based on the facts, the plan that is presented to them, and how we've addressed these questions, and just, what's going to be in the best interest for our students and our district moving forward. So next month, as this list grows, you'll be provided with all of this as well. All right. Let's see what was next after that.
The Jewel litigation.
Jewel litigation. Our junior, senior high staff and administrators spend a lot of time dealing with vaping and some of those kind of things. And it's not just a Fountain Central thing. It has been across the country. There is currently a lawsuit against the Jewel Company and others like them that is similar to a class action lawsuit, but it is several schools from across the country joining in. It was brought to my attention first by the Indiana Rural School Association, and then it was shared by the Department of Education and others about this information. So last Friday, I participated in a Zoom meeting with the attorneys and the Small Rural School Association and others about this whole idea. The reason for the litigation is because much of the advertising for the Jewel and the vaping is geared towards younger kids. They can get this stuff without parents knowing that they're going to purchase it, without having to be 18 or whatever to buy nicotine, but they're still able to get a hold of this. And the advertisement is all making it look really, really attractive to them. Additionally, in the state of Indiana, legislation just passed this week that's going to make it even more enticing for companies like Jewel to do this, because the state of Indiana just reduced the amount of taxes that they have to pay they just got a big tax break. So it makes things a lot more difficult. We do not have to join in and sign into the litigation, but if we do, there is no cost for us to join in. So anyone who's part of this, there's no cost to the members. There is some documentation that I would have to fill out, that they said it would take about a few hours to fill out the documentation of injury, which basically is how many vaping cases have we seen over a period of time, how many disciplinary actions have resulted from that. All that kind of stuff is included in it. what ages we're seeing of students who are coming to school with this. Joining in, time is of the essence because it's already moving forward. I would not be called to testify. They have a lot of large districts and they've already singled out which ones would be going in there. We would just be signed on with that. So I would not need to be deposed. We don't have to have our legal counsel involved in this. There's already legal counsel for it, unless we chose to. But that would come with a cost, obviously. Basically, we need to decide if we want to do it. If we join in, there's no cost to join in. If there is a settlement from all of this, if the courts find that, yes, they really are marketing to young children and it really is causing a severe and profound disruption to schools across the country, then they could make a settlement. And then whatever that settlement is, of course, as always, the attorneys get their cut. But the settlement would be divided. For example, IPS is involved in this. They would be getting a lot more of the settlement than Southeast Fountain because they're a much larger district with presumably many more cases of vaping than we are. So I wanted to share that with you, that for you to think about, and then moving forward, we'll make a decision if we want to sign
But
on.
right now, it's just against the Jewel Company only.
Right.
But the ultimate goal is to do away with the advertising to the young kids, to cut down our vaping that you guys have to deal with on a regular basis.
Exactly.
Did this go to all surrounding schools?
Yes, and in fact, I could see last Friday when I was on it, I could recognize a lot of superintendents, and some of the areas are already signed on. For example, Lafayette, the districts over there are already signed on, and I think it's Covington, but at least of Attica and Covington, I believe Covington's already signed on as well. So something for you to think about and consider, and then we can decide if we want to be involved in that or if we just want to wait and hope that our vaping problem will go away. Finally, the third thing that I want to share during discussion, currently we are involved in a part of a cooperative for both our CTE programs and our special services, the Wabash River Special Service Co-op. And in part of that, some of the services for our special needs students happen in our buildings. Some of them happen elsewhere. Part of being the co-op, we share, for example, the person who has to test students to see if they qualify. That would be a big cost to our district if we were doing it on our own. An educational psychologist does not come cheap. We share occupational therapists and physical therapists and those things that the state requires us to provide. But in a small district like this, we don't have a high number of students that need it, but we would still have to hire someone even if we only have one student to service. So that's a benefit to being part of the co-op. One of the things that's part of the co-op are students that are considered severe and profound are in a class called Life Skills. Students in the pre-K class, ages 3, 4, and 5, in a pre-K special needs class, and those students in kindergarten through 5th grade in that class, it is currently hosted at Attica Elementary. So our students from Southeast Fountain that qualify for those classes, we transport them over to Attica. So Attica houses that program for Attica, Covington, MSD Warren, and Southeast Fountain. Currently, in the pre-K program, there are 22 students Those students, 6 come from Attica, 5 from Covington, 5 from MSD Warren, and 6 from Southeast Fountain. In the K-5 cooperative program, there are currently 22 students. And again, those students, 6 come in K through 5. Sorry. In that program, again, Attica has 6 students in K through 5. Covington has 4 students. MSD Warren has 4 students. And Southeast Fountain has 6. So we have 6 in the pre-K and 6 in the elementary program. Once students reach 6th grade, they then go to Covington for that program there from 6 through 12. The reason I'm bringing this forward just for, I'm not making a recommendation, I'm just sharing information. Attica, who has housed that program, is moving forward with a building project, and their elementary is moving to where their junior senior high is, so that their entire district will be on one campus, not unlike here. In the plans for their new building, there is no plans for classrooms to house these programs anymore. So that means this program, there's some options. Covington already has 6 through 12, so they're not ready to say that they will also house the pre-K through 5. That leaves MSD Warren and Southeast Fountain. So they're asking that we consider if we have room on our campus for this program. It wouldn't happen in the fall. I believe that Attica is just starting to break ground next summer, and I think it's 2 years after that a program would have to move. So the options are either MSD Warren's going to volunteer to take it, we're going to volunteer, or we're all going to get our students back. Then that means we have to find teachers here who can teach our 6 special needs kids and our 6 elementary special needs kids. We would still have to provide all the services they need. The benefit to having the program is it's not going to be a financial benefit or a loss wherever the program goes, because for the 22 students in the pre-K program, the cost of the teacher and the aides and all the costs of that program is divided by the number of students that you have in there. So the cost is equally shared. That would be the same if they come here. Now, it's different if we end up taking our own 12 kids back and have to find someone able to teach just them. If we do consider moving the program here in a couple of years, then there's options regarding staffing. The current staff at Attica are considered Attica staff, even though we pay into it for the program. We could open those positions up to current Southeast Fountain staff if they have special ed certification, because we can no longer have emergency permits for special ed certification starting this fall. We could see if the current teachers over there, if they wanted to come be Southeast Fountain teachers and continue teaching the program. Those are things that would also have to be considered. So again, I am not making a recommendation at this time. I am just simply bringing this to your attention that we are going to have to determine, if no one takes this program, how we're going to meet the needs of these 12 students that still have to have a class somewhere. So just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
That's everything for you, right?
That's it.
Statement, concerns of the board. Anybody have anything?
Just thank you all for coming.
Yeah, believe it or not, we really like having y'all here. It's kind of boring when you don't show up. I want to thank the students and the teachers again for, this is something, the spotlight that we've started since Dr. Grimes got here. It's been a really good change to our board meetings that we're getting to hear from different teachers, and facilitators, and students, along with the Carter Merriman's usually here also, along with Mary Lee, that we do that with two of the students, and I think that's been a really good change also. It gives them a little chance to speak at a meeting, and as most of us know, our younger generation has trouble speaking because of the cell phone generation, so it's good to see them get up and actually talk. So I appreciate all that. We appreciate Dr. Grimes and the job she's done so far since she's been here. We're thankful to have her, and we thank all you guys for coming.
Thank you.
So next would be document signing, which we did, so adjournment.
Motion? Second.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody.